with our largest, importer. And so this is a concern. I know the Government Accounting Office, prior to all of this tariff, had gamed out, if you will, what would happen if we got into a trade war with China. And, it was a range, but I'm going to say somewhere the drop in GDP was somewhere around 5%. Now, our GDP isn't growing so great already, right? So if you take 5% off of GDP, and you got to remember, consumer spending is 2/3 of our economy. We love to consume as Americans.
That's for
and
sure.
Let me just tell you, I don't appreciate having to pay more for German chocolate and Belgian chocolate. This is my biggest concern. I'm a chocoholic. All right. So nobody wins a trade war. Nobody wins a trade war. And we'll follow up here at the end here, or at the next segment, but we want to talk more about this.
Thank you so much. If you want to talk as well about how the tariffs have affected you, or how you want to just prepare your portfolio on whatever may come here in the next coming weeks here, we do have Joe Bert and Gary Abely with the Certified Financial Group on WDBO. 844-580-9326 is the number to call. 844-580-WDBO. Send in your question using the open mic inside the WDBO app. You're listening to On the Money, where we're planning tomorrow
today
with the Certified Financial Group.
Financial consulting firm in Central Florida. Now with 14 certified financial planners acting as fiduciaries, I believe we're there. But don't take my word for it.
As we approach retirement, we have the freedom of choice.
Peace of mind that we now have. That's everything to us.
The people that work here are honest and caring, and I feel like I can go to sleep at night.
So schedule your no-obligation visit today at financialgroup.com, or we're planning tomorrow, today. For more than 40 years, our certified financial planner professionals, acting as fiduciaries, have been providing retirement planning and asset management for a fee to countless families across Central Florida.
We've been with Certified since 1992.
We're now into the third or fourth generation of clients that have come to CFG and the team here to do a great job.
It's been so long since I've been doing this that I just don't even worry about anything anymore.
We're Certified Financial Group, where we're planning tomorrow, today. Our fiduciary approach of providing retirement planning and investment management for a fee seems to resonate with our clients. But don't take my word for it.
I knew a gentleman that I worked with who had come to Certified Financial Group.
A friend of mine recommended them, and they were totally correct how good they are.
I had heard from somebody else that it was the best one in town.
I've sent several of my teacher friends here.
We're Certified Financial Group, where we're planning tomorrow, today. You may be new to the area, but we're not. For more than 40 years, our certified financial planner professionals, acting as fiduciaries and providing retirement planning and asset management for a fee to countless families across Central Florida.
We've been with Certified since 1992.
We're now into the third or fourth generation of clients that have come to CFG and the team here to do a great job.
It's been so long since I've been doing this that I just don't even worry about anything anymore.
We're Certified Financial Group, where we're planning tomorrow, today. Black Monday, the dot-com bust, 9/11, and now 2 wars. We've pretty much seen it all. Acting as fiduciaries, our CFP professionals have been a steady hand guiding our clients to and through their retirement years.
No reason to be worried about anything.
Stay the course. You stay the course, and you get there.
I don't have to worry about it like I know a lot of people look at it every day. I don't have to do that with the team here at Certified Financial Group.
We're Certified Financial Group, where we're planning tomorrow, today. Are you tired of trying to reach your advisor through a call center and being put on hold for 20 minutes? That's why we don't use one, and our clients seem to appreciate the personal touch.
They always answer my questions and really care about what's going on with me.
You can trust what they say, and they do what they say, and it gives you a comfort feeling it's hard to find in the world today.
Waiting for you to call almost. You almost feel like that.
We're Certified Financial Group, where we're planning tomorrow, today.
As an investor, you want peace of mind.
You need to know that your advisor is not only thoroughly competent, but also a fiduciary. In other words, he or she is acting at all times in your best interests. You need to trust your advisor, regardless of how much money you have to invest or what part of the world you're in. It might not be your money you're entrusting the advisor with. Perhaps you're a board member of a charity or foundation whose future depends on prudent investment. Or perhaps you have the responsibility of making investment decisions on behalf of other people. As the trustee of a retirement plan, the decisions you make can have a direct impact on the lives of your employees. Whatever type of investor you are, the solution is to use an advisor certified by the Center for Fiduciary Excellence. A CFEX certified advisory firm demonstrates its adherence to a global fiduciary standard of excellence, a defined standard with specific criteria covering 21 best practices. The documented, repeatable processes and the evidence-based decision-making that CFEX demands are more likely to generate investment portfolios that match client needs and expectations. And because the firm voluntarily agrees to a rigorous annual audit, investors can rest assured that their advisor continues to work to the highest professional standard.
On the air today, hosting this edition of On the Money. If you want to join in and be a part of this edition of On the Money, you can call in right now. 844-580-9326 is the number to call. 844-580-WDBO, or feel free to send in your question using the WDBO app and the open mic feature inside that. Gary and Joe, we're just getting into today's topic. It's all about tariffs. It's all about tariffs. What a week we had, guys.
And the tease line was Passover and the tariffs. What'd you say?
Well, just hoping the tariffs will pass over. The uncertainty of the tariffs.
Today is the start of Passover.
It is. That's right.
You're all right. So Joey's Passover. Everybody, a couple of Gentiles sitting here don't know what we're talking about, but today is the start of Passover until next Sunday.
All right, so the back to the tariffs. The concern we have is Treasury yields have markedly moved higher. Now, usually when that happens, what happens to the dollar, Joe?
It's weaker.
No, it gets strengthens usually.
Oh, I'm sorry, I got that backwards.
Yeah, usually the dollar will strengthen when we've got higher rates, right? Because it's going to attract capital.
That's correct.
Now, unfortunately, we've got an inverse relationship, which is, well, I'm going to say it. I do believe it's dangerous if it continues. We don't want a flight out of the U.S. dollar. Right now, we're seeing dollars go into the Swiss franc. Mm-hmm. We're seeing them go into the yen. We're seeing them going into the euro. And again, not only may I have trouble getting the chocolate on a supply basis if they don't think they can sell it, if we end up putting tariffs on this stuff, it's going to cost more too, right? Mm-hmm. So we do not win a trade war. Now, the pause is a good thing, but it still isn't resolved. And even if we're able to resolve our tariff disputes with our allies in these some odd 75 countries that have reached out to us, we still will not win if we have a trade war with China. We will be in a recession. Now, the odds of a recession, according to many economists, are already over 50%. And I think it's useful to talk about what happens to the market when we get into a recession. And just like all things uncertain with the market.
You're talking about stock market.
Stock market, yeah. So interestingly enough, if we go back and we look at all of our recessions in the past, I think it's since 1930, about half of the time, believe it or not, the market goes up when we're in a recession, and about half the time the market goes down. So, to the extent we do go into a recession this year, it doesn't necessarily mean further market declines. But we do have to remember we entered this tariff tit for tat when the market on a relative basis was 30% above historical multiples.
Right.
And I've talked about that on the radio before. You don't have bull markets last forever. And this one, we're technically not in a bear market by most definitions.
No, not even near.
Yeah. Right.
In fact, I'm not even sure we're in correction phase anymore after this week.
I think we are, depending on the indexes you want to look at, right? So we did have intraday, we've had declines greater than 20%, but a bear market is a drop of 20% or more, lasting at least 2 quarters. Now, interestingly enough, and I want to kind of take on what you just said, which is very important. to put things in context, if you look at the last 44 years, and if you're interested in this slide, we'll send it to you. It's pretty slick. And we look at where the market ended each year compared to the intra-year low. Okay? So as an example, the pandemic year, there was a 50% difference between where the market ended, which was up 16% that year, and the intra-year low, which was down 34%. Okay? So if you average that information over the last 44 years, you're going to find that it is typical, average, for us to see an intra-year decline of 27%, which we haven't seen, right now.
Yet.
So this is a normal thing. Volatility is normal, and I think we've said it before. It's the sour medicine we have to take that we don't like to take to get returns above safe returns, right? Less volatile investments. So, I think we all have to be patient, and I think we're going to see more clarity as the days go forward.
One other tidbit that we'll get you if we come back for the break is what happens to markets when you have 2 consecutive days of negative 4% return or more.
Oh, I know the answer to that.
That's why we're bringing it up here. Stay tuned.
I don't know the answer, so I'll stay tuned. I'm sitting right in my chair. If you want to join in, 844-580-9326 is the number to call. 844-580-WDBO, or feel free to send in your question using the open mic inside the WDBO app. You're listening to On the Money, where we're planning tomorrow
Today
with the Certified Financial Group.
Fiduciary approach of providing retirement planning and investment management for a fee seems to resonate with our clients. But don't take my word for it.
I knew a gentleman that I worked with who had come to Certified Financial Group.
A friend of mine recommended them, and they were totally correct how good they are.
I had heard from somebody else that it was the best one in town.
I've sent several of my teacher friends here.
We're Certified Financial Group, where we're planning tomorrow, today. You may be new to the area, but we're not. For more than 40 years, our certified financial planner professionals, acting as fiduciaries and providing retirement planning and asset management for a fee to countless families across Central Florida.
We've been with Certified since 1992.
We're now into the 3rd or 4th generation of clients that have come to CFG and the team here to do a great job.
It's been so long since I've been doing this that I just don't even worry about anything anymore.
We're Certified Financial Group, where we're planning tomorrow, today. Black Monday, the dot-com bust, 9/11, and now 2 wars. We've pretty much seen it all. Acting as fiduciaries, our CFP professionals have been a steady hand guiding our clients to and through their retirement years.
No reason to be worried about anything.
Stay the course. You stay the course, and you get there.
I don't have to worry about it like I know a lot of people look at it every day. I don't have to do that with the team here at Certified Financial Group.
We're Certified Financial Group, where we're planning tomorrow, today. Are you tired of trying to reach your advisor through a call center and being put on hold for 20 minutes? That's why we don't use one, and our clients seem to appreciate the personal touch.
They always answer my questions and really care about what's going on with me.
You can trust what they say, and they do what they say, and it gives you a comfort feeling it's hard to find in the world today.
Waiting for you to call almost. You almost feel like that.
We're Certified Financial Group, where we're planning tomorrow, today.
As an investor, you want peace of mind. You need to know that your advisor is not only thoroughly competent, but also a fiduciary. In other words, he or she is acting at all times in your best interests. You need to trust your advisor, regardless of how much money you have to invest or what part of the world you're in. It might not be your money you're entrusting the advisor with. Perhaps you're a board member of a charity or foundation whose future depends on prudent investment. Or perhaps you have the responsibility of making investment decisions on behalf of other people. As the trustee of a retirement plan, the decisions you make can have a direct impact on the lives of your employees. Whatever type of investor you are, the solution is to use an advisor certified by the Center for Fiduciary Excellence. A CFEX certified advisory firm demonstrates its adherence to a global fiduciary standard of excellence, a defined standard with specific criteria covering 21 best practices. The documented, repeatable processes and the evidence-based decision-making that CFEX demands are more likely to generate investment portfolios that match client needs and expectations. And because the firm voluntarily agrees to a rigorous annual audit, investors can rest assured that their advisor continues to work to the highest professional standards. This independent verification is even more critical for trustees and investment committee members of retirement plans who are legally required to conduct regular due diligence on their service providers. Use a CFEX certified firm, and that job has been done already by an expert at no expense to the plan. So why leave anything to chance? Insist on working with investment professionals you can truly trust. Insist on using a CFEX certified advisor.
So you guys.
Such a small town girl.
Do you want to play off the tees or go to the callers?
Callers.
Welcome back to On the Money here on WDBO AM 580, always streaming inside the WDBO app. If you want to join in on the conversation is with Gary Abely and Joe Bert, two certified financial planners with the Certified Financial Group. You can pick up the phone right now and dial 844-580-9326, 844-580 WDBO, or send in your question using the open mic feature inside the free WDBO app. If your question is a little more personal, or if you want to get right to the scene of the benefits here at the Certified Financial Group, Charles Curry is taking calls off the air in the office inside the four walls of the Certified Financial Group. You can call him at 407-869-9800. That off-air number to Charles Curry. Tell him you're listening to WDBO and call 407-869-9800. Let's go to the calls we have here ready to go on the air. Let's
Josh,
go over. Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
I interrupt you there. We did tease there before the break of what you historically has happened when the S&P has dropped 4% or more 2 consecutive days. What the historical return has been 12 months hence. And my colleague here knows the answer, Mr. Abely.
Well, I know it's over 20%.
33% of the 33%. So
now we need to
that's
emphasize
historical.
That's historical.
Right.
And,
So don't get hysterical.
Right, exactly. All right, now we can go to the callers.
All right, let's do it.
Thank you much. We got Winston calling in again. If you want to join in, 844-580-9326. Go ahead, Winston. You're live on the air with the Certified Financial Group.
Good morning, Winston. What's up?
Good morning, gentlemen. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
I'm retired with the Florida retirement system,
Mm-hmm.
and I have no idea how they invest that money. But listening to your conversation this morning, I'm a little bit concerned with how these tariffs and everything may put us into a recession. And I was wondering what you think would happen to our retirement with the Florida retirement system.
I don't think you have anything to worry about, Winston. Those returns, they're actuarially calculated. They have enough money set aside there to pay out those demands. And unless we have a depression, and I'm talking about an extended period of time where the whole world goes to hell in a handbasket, you're going to be fine. And I would not lose sleep over your Florida retirement system pension.
And Winston, do you also have outside investments apart from the Florida retirement system?
Yes. Well, I have my Social Security as well, and we live pretty good with the retirement and everything. But I do have a small IRA in the area of around 200,000.
All right. So one of the things.
To say it's,
yeah. Well,
I'm sorry to say it's not with your company. I didn't know about you guys when I initially retired. So, and they're not a fiduciary like you folks.
Well, yeah, so it's good you recognize that. So for all of our listeners, you do want to work with somebody who is required to act in your best interest. And as Joe has mentioned, we are all certified financial planners, and that is a big difference. We've got some competitors out there that talk about a CFP in their ads, and they're not CFPs, and I think that's disingenuous. But anyway, but back to the investments. One thing you really want to make sure on, and because all advisors are a little different on this, but we want to look at these temporary downturns as opportunities to rebalance your portfolio, right? To take advantage of these low points. For example, you're living comfortably, you mentioned, on Social Security and on your pension. So this $200,000 is very long-term money for you. I don't know, how old are you, Winston, if you don't mind sharing?
And what I used.
Hold on. We didn't hear that, Winston.
I'm 78.
78, okay.
And excuse me. I used my RMA, required minimum money that they give me every year. I use that to, I actually don't even receive it. I tell them just give it to the IRS, and it helps pay my taxes.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay.
So this money then for you, because you're not needing the required minimum distribution from your IRA, it's really long-term money. And we would talk to you and say, okay, what is the purpose of this money? Are we growing it for the children maybe at some point? What's your tax bracket? Could we do some Roth conversions with this so the children inherit it without any tax effect? So there's lots of opportunities, for planning, even with this outside money. But you're in great shape. I would not worry at all about a recession. That money will do just fine.
Yeah, Gary's 100% right, Winston. What you want to look, you don't want to smother that money that's in the IRA. First of all, chances are you're never going to cash it out in a lump sum and pay all the taxes. So it's really there sitting there for the rest of your life to take out as the government says you have to take it out through your RMDs. And you definitely want to have some growth in that to get you through that last leg of your life for medical expenses or maybe
long-term care.
Long-term care, yeah, things that you and your wife want to do. So you don't want to stuff it in a CD. You definitely want to get some growth. And seek out a certified financial planner that can help you design something for yourself, Winston. But once again, you don't have to worry about your Florida retirement system.
And one more thing, Winston, the minimum percentage we would recommend in equities, meaning mutual funds invested in stocks, is 110 less your age. Now, I emphasize that's the minimum we would recommend. So we'd say about a third of your portfolio should be invested in stocks. Now, if you don't need this money, you then start thinking about, well, what's the objectives of those who will inherit this money?
Right.
If the children are 30 years younger, well, 110 less, 30 more years is right. Now all of a sudden we're up to 60% invested in stocks. So I hope that helps, Winston.
It does quite a bit. Thank you, guys.
All right.
You're welcome. Have a great weekend. All right, Josh, take it away.
Thank you so much. If you want to call in, the number is 844-580-9326 or leave an open mic inside the free WDBO app. Paul from Mount Dora. Go ahead, Paul.
Morning,
You're live
Paul.
on the air
Good morning.
with Certified Financial Group.
What's up?
Good morning, gentlemen.
listen to you guys all the time.
Thank you.
I had my wife had this past Tuesday from cancer.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And thank you. But there's I'm in a predicament here. I just wanted to be curious really about the trust account. Just with this stuff going on now, is this a something to be concerned about as far as the money in the trust?
Wait, you said trust account? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah. How is that money invested?
How's that money invested? That's the key.
Yeah, it's low risk investments. I imagine it's not. We had bought property in Orlando, and then we didn't vet the renters, and we ended up having to go back and fix them up again. And we just sold them, and they were put in the trust.
Okay, so you have money. Let me be sure I understand. So when you and your wife were, or when your wife was alive, you bought a bunch of rental properties. They were in a trust. Is that correct?
Yeah.
All right. So then you sold the properties, and you took that cash, and that money is sitting in the trust account. How is that money invested? Is it sitting in cash?
I guess some of it is, yeah, and some of it's rolled over, yearly.
So one of the things you said, Paul, that I want to emphasize to our listeners, you said, I imagine. And in other words, one of the things that I do when I meet with, somebody that comes into our office looking for advice, I will start out and I'll ask them, so what percentage of your overall net worth, excluding your house, is invested in stock mutual funds or individual stocks? And to this day, and gosh, I've been doing this over 30 years, to this day, I've never had somebody come into the office and be able to answer that question. Some people say, well, I'm not sure, but I filled out this risk assessment questionnaire, and I don't really know, right? And so we don't want our clients to say, I imagine. We want them to know, if you score on a risk assessment questionnaire that you're moderate, we're going to have you very close to 60% in equities and 40% into non-equities, right? So the one thing I would suggest, Paul, is taking a look at what's under the hood, because I can't really tell you, what to expect without knowing what asset classes there are. But just like the prior caller, I would emphasize that most of us have a long-term time horizon for investing. And when you look at things on a long-term basis, we really want to look at these temporary declines as an opportunity to rebalance and buy more shares of stock at lower prices. It's about the only thing we don't get excited about buying on sale, right?
Yeah. But first and foremost, Paul, what you really want to have is, now that you're now a widower, is really a plan. You need to know how much money you're coming in, what's going out, what are your big expenses coming up, what are we doing for long-term health care for you, how is your money invested, and how conservatively can you invest your money and still have a high probability of not running out of money when you're 95 years old. It's not just a matter of just taking the money and investing it. Good investing requires good planning up front. You have to have, as best you can, an outlook into what that might be, taking into consideration taxes and inflation and all those extra expenses that we don't think about, that you're going to incur, everybody incurs, and be prepared for it. So we'd encourage you to give us a call. Paul, that's what we do for our clients. We work with our clients for a fee. We're doing retirement planning and investment advice, doing it now for many, many decades. And we'd be glad to work with you. Or come to one of our workshops. We had a lot of workshops occur. One of these things, you've got one specially on that, Gary?
Well, it's called Will Your Savings Last Your Lifetime? And that's really a great one, because we help people go home and calculate the lump sum that they will need to make sure, as Joe mentioned, to have a high probability of not outliving your money.
So go to our website. That's financialgroup.com, financialgroup.com. Click on events, and you'll find something that will fit your needs. I don't know if that answers your question specifically, Paul, because we don't have enough information as to what's in the trust. So if you can get us that information and come into our office, go ahead.
There was $300,000 in the trust I last heard. And the crux of this whole situation is that when Carol was diagnosed with cancer, we had friends from Kentucky to pay the bills here and do this and do that and manage the trust. And my name is still on the trust, but I'm being kept in the dark here. I didn't take the key out of the back door. So I have to police told me to give them a deadbolt for the front door so I can get myself in and out of the house with a key, so I don't leave the house open. And it they were here yesterday, seen the same blocks, and now they want to say this is my house. And I was like, well, I had this stuff checked out Thursday, and it's still in my wife's name. I mean, it's just we were divorced, but in either event, I'm on oxygen and this and that. I just
Well, Paul, I see a train wreck coming. I think Monday morning, call an attorney. You need some professional help here, because it sounds like you may be being taken advantage of, and you're liable to find yourself out on the street and totally confused as to what happened to you. Do not try to do this on your own. That's my words of advice for Paul.
I think that's good advice.
Yeah,
Yep.
he's I can see. Unfortunately, people get taken advantage of in this kind of situation more often than not, and it's sad.
Yes.
All right, I hear the bumper music. Josh, take it away.
You got it. If you want to call in, 844-580-9326, 844-580-WDBO. We got Charles Curry standing by off the air to answer your question directly. Charles Curry, certified financial planner with the Certified Financial Group, standing by at 407-869-9800. That's 407-869-9800. You're listening to On the Money, where we're planning tomorrow
Today
with the Certified Financial Group.
I'm sure in your neighborhood you guys have an old school butcher where you walk in and there's a bunch of guys, no gloves, big white aprons, and there's Frank and there's Stevie and there's Mikey, and these guys know more about meat and more about animals and more about cooking the meat than any of us will ever learn. And so you walk in and you say, hey Lou, I need to, I'm barbecuing this weekend, right? What do you like? And Lou goes to the big racks of stuff he has underneath the glass, and he goes, the veal chops, just in from Argentina, they are the bomb. And you go, veal, oh, I like veal. Well, what do you got on skirt steak? Oh, we got some great skirt steak, just came in yesterday from Montana. Skirt steak is one of my favorite, marinated up a little bit, it's fantastic. Lou will never say to you, Elliot, it's a little long on the meat here, big guy, your cholesterol is getting high. Why don't you go down to the fishmonger a couple blocks and have a nice piece of salmon? Right? He'll never do that. Why? His job is to sell me meat, and I go in, actually the same way I go into the Toyota dealership, because I like Toyotas, and I trust the salesman to sell me a good product if I trust him. And the fact that he's got my interest at heart vis-a-vis my expectations for selling me that thing. By the same token, when I go to see a dietitian, I know she's going to look at all of my labs, she's going to take all the measurements, she's going to run all of her analysis, and she's going to absolutely give me her best thinking on what's best for me. Whether she's a vegetarian or a meat lover, likes this, likes that, if she thinks I should be doing something differently, even if it's not good for her, she's going to give me an opinion that's for my interest. So what's the difference between a fiduciary and the brokers? Well, these are dietitians, these are butchers. It's that simple. Brokers are butchers selling product. Fiduciaries are dietitians looking after your health. The problem is most people think that their butcher is a dietitian. So when one of your moms or dads or friends calls the broker and says, I got $200,000, I sold a little piece of property, or I got some inheritance, what should I do with it? They're going in thinking they're talking to a dietitian, and they're really talking to Lou the butcher.
What is a fiduciary? When it comes to investing, a fiduciary is legally required to act in your best interest. For 40 years, planners at Certified Financial Group have been guiding our local clients toward financial peace of mind. The rest of the world is still catching up, but our team of certified financial planners are the local, experienced fiduciaries you can trust. Certified Financial Group are your Central Florida planners. Call us today.
40 years ago, I had a dream of building the best personal financial consulting firm in Central Florida. Now, with 14 certified financial planners acting as fiduciaries, I believe we're there. But don't take my word for it.
As we approach retirement, we have the freedom of choice.
Peace of mind that we now have. That's everything to us.
The people that work here are honest and caring, and I feel like I can go to sleep at night.
So schedule your no-obligation visit today at financialgroup.com, or we're planning tomorrow. For more than 40 years, our certified financial planner professionals, acting as fiduciaries, have been providing retirement planning and asset management for a fee to countless families across Central Florida.
We've been with Certified since 1992.
We're now into the third or fourth generation of clients that have come to CFG and the team here to do a great job.
It's been so long since I've been doing this that I just don't even worry about anything anymore.
We're Certified Financial Group, where we're planning tomorrow, today. Our fiduciary approach of providing retirement planning and investment management for a fee seems to resonate with our clients. But don't take my word for it.
I knew a gentleman that I worked with who had come to Certified Financial Group.
A friend of mine recommended them, and they were totally correct how good they are.
I had heard from somebody else that it was the best one in town.
I've sent several of my teacher friends here.
We're Certified Financial Group, where we're planning tomorrow, today. You may be new to the
AM 580, always streaming inside your WDBO app. We got Gary Abely and Joe Bert wrapping up another fantastic edition of On the Money with the Certified Financial Group. If you want to call in, the number you should write down right now at this time in the hour is their off-air number. Charles Curry standing by at 407-869-9800. 407-869-9800. If you want to leave an open mic for a future episode, you can do so inside the free WDBO app. Like Dean.
Good morning, guys. This is Dean from the Villages. I want to find out when you guys are going to be moving an office into the Villages. We have so many rich, retired folks around this area, and we hate to drive into the Orlando area. So really wish you guys would think about building an office around here. Thank you.
Well, Dean, appreciate the vote of confidence there. And ironically, we have several clients that live in the Villages, some of whom we've never met face to face. You know, today with the technology, we do Zoom calls, Teams meetings. Some people like to come in for the initial consultation, kind of kick the bricks here, see what we're all about. And then going forward, we do everything via the computer.
Right, via Zoom or Teams.
And we have clients all over the country that we've never met.
We do.
So, you know,
there are a lot of them that, you know, were in Florida and then they moved and they want to continue to work with us.
Right,
so.
right.
But thank you. Well, I guess thank you, Dean, for, again, vote of confidence.
Right. There are no immediate plans to do that because things are working well here. But once again, we can't accommodate anybody anywhere in the country. Yeah, and we have clients overseas as well.
And let's get to Randy because I know he's been patiently waiting. Thank you, Randy.
What's up, Randy? You're live on the air.
Yeah, not a problem. Thank you. This goes along with the other gentleman's question about the FRS. I've got about 9 years left to go, and I was thinking about switching to the investment plan. And as you said, with the markets the way they are, do you know anything about the investment plan, and is that a smart move or not?
Well, I do know about the investment plan. For our listeners that might not be familiar with it, just much like a 401k, you have your investment choices as to where you want to go, and of course, you're assuming some risk there because investments go up and down. But if you're 21 years into the FRS system.
I'm 31 years into the FRS
31
plan, and I was thinking.
Yeah. So, well, my gut tells me you ought to stick with the FRS system and take that guaranteed pension. I would have paid into it for so many years. You know, you've built up something that somebody just starting the system doesn't have the benefit of, and that's a great pension that you will get, and it's guaranteed for your lifetime. So depending on what your other assets might be, when I go into retirement and look at clients, I want to get as much guaranteed money for pensions, and Social Security, and then you build around that.
Yeah,
so
the more guaranteed money you have, the more aggressive you can be
with your other money. Exactly. So I probably wouldn't switch, Randy, without knowing more of your details, but that really tells that tells me what you ought to do. All right, to help you.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're
Have a
quite,
wonderful day.
you're quite welcome, and we appreciate the call. So I want to remind our listeners that April 26th, we're having our annual shredding event right here in Altamont Springs at our office. You can bring your stuff by. 2 bankers boxes limit, please. That's from 9 to noon on April 26th. Come on by. You can see the stuff shredded in one of those big industrial shredder trucks right here on our property. Stop by for a cup of coffee and a donut, and we'll do the show right from our front porch here in Altamont Springs. So that's April 26th, 9 to noon, our annual shredding event. For more information, go to our website. That's financialgroup.com. And Charles Curry is taking calls off the air. So I know we didn't get a chance to get all the calls today. We appreciate our listeners calling in. You can reach him right now at 407-869-9800. That's 407-869-9800. If you want more information about what Gary and I and the 15 other certified financial planners do Monday through Friday, providing retirement planning, investment management for a fee, go to our website, financialgroup.com. That's financialgroup.com. And a joyous Passover to all of our listeners.
And a great weekend. We're on borrowed time. I don't think we're going to have too many more of these beautiful weekends.
It's about to get hot outside, everybody, so make sure you. But the good thing is the Office of Certified Financial Group always has cool air conditioning.
Yes,
so
we
stop
do.
in there if you need a smiling face and a happy portfolio. Thank you so much for listening to On the Money, where we're planning tomorrow
today
with the Certified Financial